before you came round. I was heading for a small disaster. Before you came round, I was ready to blow me down.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you know by the title, today I am doing a coffee talk video. And if you are new here and new to my channel, you don't know what a coffee talk video is, I basically just sit down with my cup of joe and chat with you about life and updates. It's been a long time since I sat down and did one of these videos, so I had to choose carefully about what I was going to talk about, otherwise this video would be like an hour long. So these are the topics I wrote out that I wanted to talk about in this video, and it's the fact that I moved, my cat had to get surgery, I got a job, I'm going to therapy, and how I've been feeling overall. So let's start out with the easy one, and as you can see, and you can probably see in the last couple of videos that I moved in like July, but I haven't like shown the house. As many of you know, I could not afford my last apartment by myself. I originally moved in there planning to split it with someone. So I moved into a house with a roommate and things have been okay. My apartment was so big and that was so nice, and I wish I appreciated it more when I was living there, because moving into this place, I had to Goodwill 8 garbage bags of stuff, and I still have way too much stuff. I kind of hoard things, and so it's not like I had a lot of expensive stuff or anything. I just hoarded things that I should have thrown away or given away and that I didn't use. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like, what if I need it? I've actually been asked a lot about how me and Shane are doing, and we're doing really good. We're getting closer to a year of dating, which is kind of crazy. I feel like it was not that long ago we went out on our first date, so Momo did have to get surgery, and a lot of you knew about that because I was posting about it. What happened is I left him with someone when I went to Hawaii over the summer, and he got injured in a recliner chair. We thought it might have been just a bump from it and it would go away. Well, like a month and a half later, and it didn't go away, so I was getting a little concerned, and Momo was due for a vet visit and I needed to get him pet insurance. And in order to get this one kind of pet insurance that I wanted, I had to give him a checkup. So I had to go to the vet anyway to get pet insurance. So Momo was fine in his checkup, he was really healthy except for this bump. And they were very, very concerned about it because it's in a spot where they give vaccines, and vaccines can sometimes turn into cancer with cats. And so my vet told me that he probably had cancer and they might have to cut off his leg if it's really bad. And so of course, in my mind, being a broke college student who loves her cat to death, I was like on the verge of tears sitting in the vet, lobby, like trying to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. And then I saw the estimates of the cost of what it would take to remove that lump, and oh gosh, when it's over $1,000, it starts, you start panicking. They tried to do a test on whether or not it was cancerous, but it's not a biopsy. It's like a step down from a biopsy where they just grab some cells, and the problem with that test is that they could just grab non-cancerous cells and there's still cancer in there, and the test will come back as negative, like no, this cat does not have cancer, but that's not true. So she said it might give us a false negative, but it could just give us a positive, and it's a quick test. So I heard back in a day, the lab came back saying that he didn't have cancer, but she wasn't sure about that because of what I said before. And of course she still wanted to remove the lump because lumps are not normal in cats like they are dogs. I grew up with a lot of dogs. But dogs just get bumps. They just get bumps and they're like benign and it's normal, but cats don't, apparently. I've never had a cat before, this is my first cat. There's a higher chance that he could get cancer even if it's not cancerous. So we removed it. It was really sad because he had to wear a cone and he couldn't figure out how to walk and he couldn't jump and he kept trying. It was so sad. But now he's fine. His hair's almost grown back. It's been like almost 4 months. I also got a job. I am working for a greeting cards company. Basically what I do is I go into the card department and I just like clean the cards and make them all organized and nice and put away orders. And it sounds easy, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it's really stressful because you have to work with the store manager on putting things outside of the department. And I don't know, it was really outside my comfort zone, although I feel like I've gotten better at my job recently. Sometimes it's very stressful, but sometimes it's okay. That mixed with school made this term a little hard because I have less time to do things like YouTube, and that's why, you know, I've been kind of inactive on YouTube lately, which you probably noticed. I'm not even making a December bullet journal video because I didn't have time and it's like finals week. And I just didn't want to have to focus on that because making those bullet journal videos it's very hard because I like to pre-plan everything out, so I pre-sketch things out and then I, you know, sit here for like an hour and a half and do this in front of the camera and the light, and then you have to go through all of that footage and fast forward basically everything, and then it slows down your computer, and then and then you have to do the voiceover, and the voiceover is probably the worst part for me. What I am doing this month is hunting for achievements on Xbox. I'm hoping to get 10,000 gamerscore, which last year in November I got 40,000 gamerscore, so it's not a crazy goal, but I'm wanting to do that since I have this month like off of school. And also I'll be wanting, of course, to film more YouTube videos. I have a couple in mind and I'm really excited for. Another new thing, which it might be too much information, but I'm going to therapy now. It's not my first time going to therapy, but it's the first time going to therapy when I'm like ready to go to therapy, and I'm ready and willing and just kind of excited about it. I've always taken mental health very seriously. It's a very serious thing, and I'm just happy that I'm finally doing it. My therapist was also able to diagnose me, which I've never been diagnosed before. I've known I've had anxiety and I've known that I've had depression for a long time, but I've never been diagnosed before, so that's a really weird feeling. So yes, I was diagnosed with social phobia or social anxiety, which, come on, we all know that I have. Anxiety and depression is in my genetics, so, you know, I'm not surprised with my diagnosis at all. But when it came to depression, I was a little surprised at the kind of depression that I have. This is about to get real. So I have a thing called double depression. It makes sense that you could have two kinds of depression, but I just never thought about it before. And I never thought about me having two kinds of depression. Although at the same time I've always known, I just didn't know what the real term was. You know, I never claimed that I had this kind of depression because I've never been diagnosed before. I just known that I've had depression. So I was diagnosed with persistent depressive disorder. I'm going to explain it in this really unscientific way because I'll explain it on how I feel. But you can look it up and get like an actual real definition. I just like to use metaphors and that kind of stuff. So if I was to explain persistent depressive disorder, sorry, I get tongue-tied, I would say that, so if we have a chart, like an imaginary chart, and someone's normal level, like their neutral level, they're not happy and they're not sad, they're just at their neutral level, is like right here in the middle. My neutral level will be like lower than that. Try to think how to explain this. So my neutral level is like lower than everyone else's neutral level. So I'm just slightly depressed. Not in a way where I can't function or go about my day. I can get up, I can get ready, I can go to school, I do my normal activities. I'm just slightly lower than everyone else. It's a minor depression and you feel it all the time. So you feel like there's no relief, really. And to be diagnosed with this, you've had to feel this way for 2 years. And so that's yes, I've been feeling this way for 2 years. And it doesn't have to be every day either. So some days I might feel a little better, but it's more days than not. So if you think about this in a week sense, 4 out of 7 days I'd feel that way, but it doesn't always work out that way. To be diagnosed with that, you have to feel that way more than not, and for over 2 years. So that's my first kind of depression. It's just this minor depression. And then the second kind is the major depressive disorder, which I think is the more common one, and that's the one more talked about. And it's the kind where you go through these like dips of depression of like 3 weeks plus. Like usually I think it's like 3 weeks to 2 months, I don't know. Mine normally last about a month. And when you go through a dip, there's no real telling how long it will be till you go through another dip for me. I don't know if some people will have more of a cycle or whatever, but I could go through like a depressive episode and then have like 2 days and then start like going down again, or I could have like 2 months. And the thing is, with these mixed together like this, people with major depressive disorder, when they go through these dips, when they come back up, they're supposed to be symptom free. They're at that neutral line that everyone else is at. For people like me with double depression, our neutral line is lower. So when we come out of this major depressive episode, our neutral line is lower, so we're still depressed. So it kind of feels like you don't come up for air. Like you're drowning. Sorry, I'm not trying to make this dark. It feels like you're kind of like you're drowning, like when you're depressed. That's kind of a good metaphor that people use. You're drowning, and then when you get out of this depression, you come up for air. Well, when you get out of this depression, when you have double depression, you never really come up for air. Like you get close, but you're not quite there. That's the best way I can explain it, and that's how I've been feeling for a long time. I've just never been diagnosed with it. And of course, these metaphors are just things that I use to explain it. There's a bunch of information online that you can find if you don't understand what I'm saying or you don't necessarily agree with my metaphors, but this is how I like to explain it because it's how I feel. Everyone experiences depression and different kinds of depression a little differently, and they might feel different things about it. But it's like you're drowning and you feel like depressed, and then you're coming up for air, but instead of actually getting air, you just get to see the surface or something like that, and you can't reach it. And I forgot to mention the social anxiety that she diagnosed me with, she said was in partial remission. So I am getting better. I use better lightly because do you actually get better? Basically, I'm finding coping methods and it's working. So I have been feeling better and feeling more able and less crippled by it. I can go and talk to people. I can go to my job and talk to the managers. I can, get out there because I'm forced to. I don't really have a choice. If I want to have my job, then I have to be able to do these things. And it's made me find coping methods of how to deal with it and how to deal with my social anxiety. I feel like I've been talking for a really long time, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to hang out with me in between videos, which I know have been a long time lately, those breaks I've been taking. All of my social media is at maidenofwarfare, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Xbox, and those will be up on the screen right now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications. Hopefully I'll start posting every week again. I love you to the end of space and back. Bye.
Let it go.